another week, and you know what that means over here on the JP side of things. We have another round of our grand banners that are coming out. If you're playing on the NA side of things and you don't know what we're talking about, basically we have this new grand servant upgrade thing coming out later on this year, and so that you have the ability to make whatever your favorite character is your grand character, they are bringing every single character back on Raid Up. So if you want Da Vinci Rider to be your grand rider, or maybe you want some random summer unit that hasn't come back in like 4 years or something, they're giving you an opportunity to summon on that. And I'm basically using this to catalog all of these banners and kind of just give you my advice, whether you're playing JP right now or you want to look at this as an NA player so you kind of know what the banners are going to look like, how good the characters are as of the current meta right now on JP, and just see if there's something that you want to summon on, right? You know, when we had the Avenger banners, it's like, hey, Joltar's a 50% battery whenever she finally got this Raid Up over here for the Avenger banners, and it's like, okay, so she's like really, really strong. She's a lot better than she is on NA right now, and there's some characters where it's like, nah, they're a little bit washed, they're not all that great. So let's just start getting into this. No more hubbubaloo. Let's just start talking about these banners. Starting off with the first one over here. Now, one thing to consider are usually the lower rarity characters, because I like to try to go for some of these banners that are more bang for your buck, right? They have a really strong 5-star, maybe a pretty decent to good 4-star, and then sometimes you can get really lucky with some of the story lock 3-stars returning, people like Casterku or Bedivere, guys like that. But this one is kind of like okay, because I still think Rider Da Vinci is a solid option as a character. I mean, she's still able to loop relatively effectively. She does have some really nice synergies in some of these multi-core teams, and even just, you know, just arts teams in general, right? Giving NP to all the allies around her, you know, being able to kind of support damage a little bit, that is still relatively nice over here on the JP side of things. Although I do think she has some weaknesses in that a lot of more modern loopers are either packing really strong power mods, or they have like some form of extra bonus damage. If you look at people like, say, Ruler Melusine or Ibuki, they've got really strong power mods associated with their kits. Ibuki also has the Berserker class typing, so she's kind of like super effective against everybody if you want to look at it that way. And then even people like, say, Avenger Kama, right, have their own power mods, right, and they have their own ramping damage. So while I do think she is really solid, if you have any of these other AoE art servants, it's not really going to be something that I would consider, unless for whatever reason you just really like Rider Da Vinci. And the units on her banner don't exactly sell it, because while I think that Ushi is a fine, you know, low rarity servant, we would even call her a low star legends, if you will, she's not like story locked or anything, so it's not like, oh my goodness, this is my only chance to pick up copies of Ushi. It's like you pick up copies of her on any single banner, right? So it's like not, you know, as if Bedivere was on the banner, or it's not as if Casterku was on the banner. Then Huang Fei Hu over here, even though I think he was pretty cool in the event, we didn't really get a whole lot of him, so I can't see people being like, no, I gotta summon on this banner for my guy Huang over here because he's just the GOAT. But even then, he's not the craziest servant. I think he's interesting, right? It's one of those servants that you have a little bit of decision making with how their skills work, and you know, it's like, oh, if I proc this skill, I'm gonna have, it's like the Huang family magistrate buff or whatever it's called, right? You know, you have a little bit of options, but I don't think it's the craziest banner. Moving over here, I mean, look, I enjoy Europa as much as the next guy. I actually think when she released, she wasn't actually that bad. I know when she came out, people were like, ah, this servant's mid, they're not super great, and well, maybe you could say that they were mid by the definition of mid. I still think she's like okay, you know, not trying to like put her down too much. You can do the buster looping with her. She does have like the triple invincibility, which can be kind of nice, I suppose, if you're going into any type of boss fight or something, but realistically, when you're going to be summoning on any rider to make them your grand rider, are you really going to be considering Europa when you have options like Iskandar, you have Ivan, you have Ozymandias, and unfortunately it didn't look like Quetzalcoatl got that buff, but she's going to get that buff eventually, right? So then she could be your grand rider, right? You could make her grand rider in preparation for that buff. But even if people like Taigong that are really strong, I just don't think Europa, even if you really do like her, is really worth considering going for, unless this is like your main wifey servant. Unless you're like, dude, Europa, she just does it for me. This is my favorite character in the entirety of the game. I gotta have it. Dude, Talos giant mech, I need that in my life. So outside of those reasons, I don't think it's worth rolling for. Suzuka over here, I think, is more of an interesting one to talk about, because this is one that I still remember when I made the video when she originally came out. I was not super impressed with their kit. Obviously, I think the character design is super hot. I think the design and the Ascensions are all bangers. They knock those out of the park, but I was not very impressed with her kit, because I think what happens is some people will look at her kit on, say, like a Game Press or a, you know, Wikipedia page, and they'll say, this character looks super insane on paper. But then there is some servants that when you look at their kit on paper and you try to use them in game, it does not translate very well one-to-one. And I think she is one of those characters that you can get some usage out of. It's obviously like, is she good enough to loot for those purposes? Yeah, obviously she's going to be good enough to do stuff like that, but there are definitely better options, especially in the quick AoE variety. But again, maybe you do go on this banner because you want to make Suzuka right over here, Summer Vacation Suzuka, whatever they're calling her. You want to make her your Grand Rider. That's perfectly fine. Just, I wouldn't go in there being like, this is going to be like the best quick AoE rider I could be going for, especially when my boy Taigong is on right up, which is not Taigong. I know that was like a really good lead up as if he's going to be the next one, but unfortunately I didn't make the order. This banner I just don't think is really worth going for unless you really like Odysseus. He's fine, I guess. Like, Odysseus not being able to be charmed, I think is kind of cool. It's like a nice little lord, you know, nod of the head on that one. It's like, nope, he's just that loyal to his wife. You know, it's like, all right, that's pretty cool. Guy can taunt. He's got the info. He can loop, I guess. Like, I don't really know what you want me to say about Odysseus. Bro has a very, very simple kit. But even if Odysseus was like your favorite character of all time, bro, you can't be summoning on this banner. Like, look, I know Columbo over here is a story locked servant. I understand you're like, but I gotta get my NP5 Columbus. For one, Columbus ain't even like that great. It's not like a Bedivere. It's not like a Caster Coup where it's like, this is such a really good, you know, limited 3-star character that I gotta get my grubby little mitts on him. Unless you just think Columbus is hilarious, which, fair enough. You know, maybe you do want to go for him for that. But then you have Marie. Look, I don't care what the excuses. You could be the biggest Marie fan of all time. What you should have already done is summon for Marie Alter, who is on right up with the Avengers, and gotten your Marie fix that way. Because Rider Marie, just not good. Just no. Don't try to pop off in the comments, all right? Like, I don't want to see anybody coming out here being like, but ZTL, have you considered? She's got some pretty good invincibility, man. Like, she's gonna be out here living. It's like, all right, we live to turn. What do we do next turn? Nothing. Hot nothing. We ain't doing nothing. All right, if you want to use Marie Alter. That, in my opinion, them putting out Marie Alter is them saying we're never going to fix Rider Marie. You're just going to have to use Marie with the big, fat, voluptuous milkers. Oh, woe is me. I have to use Big Milky's version, Marie Alter. Oh, my goodness. But, yeah, this banner is not, like, super great. I just wouldn't even consider tossing your Saints on this one. Unless, for whatever reason, you are some kind of weirdo where Odysseus over here is, like, your favorite male character, and then you also really like Marie. She's like your favorite female character, and you're also a huge fan of Columbus. I have no idea who this banner is built for, who is going to slot into that specifically, but if that's you, I'm sorry, you're cooked, all right? There's nothing I could do for you. Next banner, we have Nemo. Now, I have talked about Martha in the other video, the first round for the Rider banners, because generally for the main classes, they split them into 2 different weeks because there's generally like a lot of different characters for the main classes. Martha still has somewhat of a usage, even though like I don't think you're really going to use her as, say, an offensive servant. The main use is the fact that her skill has an ability to like completely debuff cleanse the entire party, and it's not like that comes up all the time. But when it does come up, you're really glad to have Martha, if that makes sense. It's just a really nice utility to have in your box when we have certain quests like that pop up or whatever. Just having that is really, really nice. And while there are other servants that probably can do the same thing she does, everybody just knows that Martha's able to do it, right? It's just like super free, super just nice to get. Plus, she can also just drop a defense down on the enemy, so it's a little bit of damage support, I guess, in those scenarios when it does come up. Now, Nemo being the character that's on right up with her, I don't want to put Nemo down because I think I have done too much of that in the past of just like really not giving this guy credit for what he's worth, but I also don't want to like fully gas him up. Obviously, I think we all know the meme of just like full power Nemo, right? We're fighting on every battlefield imaginable. We've procced all the different power mods and we're doing just a gargantuan amount of damage, right? We're just absolutely eviscerating the enemies with this one. But the likelihood of like getting all those things to start proccing and whatnot is a little low. Because first of all, fighting super large people is not like the most common, but then you gotta fight super large people on like waterside battlefield or void space, which I mean technically can crop up, right? Like you can fight the whales in void space in the main interlude. I guess that's a thing. He could be the whale killer. Then I guess waterside and massive enemies, like we could, I don't know, we could get like giant sharks to fight in the future. I mean, we've got like giant starfish, if you want to call them that, right? We have like the Dagon boss, I believe, that we got from, what was that, the Trunk Sisters event? I think it was a Trunk Sisters event. So like we have like big dudes on waterside battlefield, but it's not exactly popping up out of every orifice over here. It's not like we're fighting ORT next to the water, you know. We're not going to be fighting, you know, Goetia next to a nice sunny beach, you know. It's not really stuff that's going on that we're really finding with some frequency over here. So again, I think it's a character you can get some decent use out of. The NP animation is really funny because it can launch people off the screen, right? And then you can see that they have like a really bad their render was cut really bad for the enemy sprite, which is really funny. But aside from that, I don't really think it's worth pulling for. And Taigong is where things get a little interesting, because I do think Taigong is worth pulling for, but he is on every single banner. He's not story locked and he's not limited in any way, which means anytime they do a free 5-star ticket, or they let you pick a 5-star for free, this guy is always available, and he's always going to be a very strong option on those tickets. For one, he's very similar to, say, somebody like Tetzkali Polka or somebody like Lohai, that basically you can bring 2 of these guys and they function as their own farming system. He's kind of the progenitor of that, with him giving the triple buff, you know, the attack, NP damage, and quick buff, plus giving, you know, the battery to himself and the battery to other party members. That is always going to be really good. Plus, again, the power mods in this guy are pretty decent. I mean, Lord forbid you are a divine enemy, because you are going to get sent into the sun by this guy. Now, while I do have like nothing but really high praises for him, it is one of those scenarios where I think if you're more on the free-to-play side and you're trying to more high-roll a lot of these banners, you know, going for more of the crazy supports in the game, going for a lot of the limited servants, and trying to make best use of those, then I probably would say avoid something for Taigong, even as much as I personally love him and I think he is worth the role. I would personally, you know, go for more of the supports or more of the limited people that you can't get on every single banner. But if you were going to roll for Taigong, I would absolutely not stop you. Like, I completely understand with how good this guy is. He's very strong. Unfortunately, Mary and Reed over here, or Anne and Mary, whatever their names are, these guys aren't super great. I mean, they can do big damage at low HP. That's kind of cute, I guess. That's cool. But the main selling point for this banner is Taigong. Let's make no mistake on that one. You guys are here. I mean, if you don't have them, they could be a nice pickup. They could be 3 Sankords plus some, because they have like interludes and rank ups. Okay. Sorry. I can't with this guy's art. Every time I just look at the screen and he's just staring at me, it makes me laugh. So here's my opinion on this. Constantine, pre-buff, was already a good servant, right? I don't think a lot of people wanted to hear that, but there were like countless runs and different setups you could do with Constantine pre-buff to show that this guy was actually a fairly capable servant. But, you know, people just don't like exploring different, I guess, effects and buffs on characters, right? They were like, defense, oh, that can't be good. I'm not going to use that, but it's like, no, this guy can be good. He can be pretty decent. With his buff to his NP, even better. It just takes one crazy buff for people to be like, wow, this guy's nuts, and then doesn't change the general game plan of the character at all. It just makes them better at that role, and everyone's like, this guy's crazy. And then people that have used Constantine are just like, he's just doing the same thing but better. But the game plan hasn't changed. So it's like, he's still like really, really solid. But I don't think anybody's going to summon for Constantine. Can I just get a poll on that in the comments down below, that it doesn't really matter how good you make Constantine, you're probably just not going to summon for him? Like, I just kind of feel very confident in saying that. Because, for one, while what he does is good, it's not really a gameplay style, or it's a team comp that people are not going to want to run. And then 2, look at this guy's banner. This guy's banner is some buns, dude. This is terrible. You're telling me I have a chance to get a Stolfo? Oh my goodness, bro. You shouldn't have. Oh my lordy. They definitely had to throw, like, Suzuka should have been on this banner so they could actually sell it a little bit more. Because unless you're just going to femboy Hooters, you are not summoning on this banner for Astolfo, unless you're just a huge Astolfo fan, which, to be fair, if you're in the Astolfo camp, you've already summoned on this banner anyway. You could care less who the 5-star over here is. It could be a 5-star, I don't even remember her name, but like the evil fairy lady Aurora from Lost Belt 6 that nobody wants, and you could care less. You were already going to be summoning on this anyway. But Astolfo, great for the beginner accounts, right? Because 50% battery is just free. But as soon as you get literally anything better, which arguably Medusa might be that anything better with her recent buff, you're probably not going to be able to use that guy. So, look, while I do think Constantine is worth rolling for, while I do think he is a pretty good servant, I just don't think anybody's going to be summoning for him. Like, I just don't think it's going to be a thing. Bakan, I'm pretty biased towards. I really enjoy using this character. I think they're a lot of fun. But I also should admit that they're not, like, all that insane. Like, they're good, but they're not like, oh my goodness, nut-bustingly OP, you gotta get this character, otherwise, you what are you gonna do? You're just not gonna clear any content in the game. But they're solid, like, they're good enough. Especially good enough in the way that you also have Rider Mordred on the banner that I think makes this really tempting, because not only can you snag a pretty solid servant in Bakan, but you also need to get multiple copies of Summer Mordred over here, because let me tell you, I will always see the cope. It's the same cope that I see for Morgan. People will be like, nah, dude, one copy is good enough. I'm clearing all the stuff, dude. You are not clearing anything. My brother in Christ, you are not even killing the enemies with Rider Mordred at NP1. My boy, she will loop 100% of her NP, but will fail to kill the enemies, right? It is the most baffling thing I've ever seen, because usually you need overkill to actually refund your NP, but Rider Mordred refunds so well that it doesn't matter. She's able to just, even leaving the enemies alive, she'll have her NP back. And then for some reason, though, enemies are still alive, and it's like, okay, well, I still need to kill the enemies to progress through the stage, so, like, Mordred, help me out a little bit here. Now, I will give some people some copium if this is going to be a unit that you're highly considering, because I know the Mordred fans. I've seen them. They go ballistic for Mordred, right? Especially Summer Mordred. So, to give you guys some copium, if you can at least snag NP2 for Rider Mordred, it does help her out a lot. It doesn't make her perfect, but I will say there is a notable difference between having an NP1 Mordred and then an NP2 one, right? I actually get to directly compare those based on my JP and my NA account, where I believe it's on NA that I have her at NP2 and JP it's NP1, and there are just some stages that I can't bring Rider Mordred to because she can't take out the enemies, but NP2 does make it doable, right? So obviously you would want to go for more NP copies than just that, but if you could snag NP2, she will be fine. She'll be able to get most of the work done that you want her to do, and you also have a shot at getting Bakan, who I just think is generally just a really strong servant. I just think she's kind of nice. Talking to Shingen, this is one that people might be interested in because he's coming out later on this year. This guy's kind of a bum. While he is really cool, and I like his different ascensions and whatnot, that is, you know, there's no line on that one, but dude, the amount of people that, like, when the video came out, and I talked about this guy being really bummy, was so funny, reading the comments for people being like, no, he looks so cool, and I'm like, I don't care if they look cool, I don't care if their lore is good, what I care about in these videos is how good are they. Will I still summon for this guy? Obviously. I summoned for him and I got him, so suck on that, bro. Like, everybody that is super upset, they're like, I can't believe you called him a bum. And I'm like, yep, and I still got him, bro. Can't stop me from getting him, alright? I'm just that good. But when it comes to these videos, I'm gonna tell you if the character is, like, good or not. Like, right now, like, I've gone on record saying that pre-buff for Salter, terrible servant. Like, she's not good. I don't care if it's your favorite servant. I'm gonna call it like I see it. And until a servant gets, like, their required buff to make them good, or until, I don't know, they get some kind of NP or skill upgrade, I'm gonna call him what it is. And this guy's mid. He's not good. He's not bad. He's mid, alright? He's alright. His damage, not super great. His kit, though's got some good pieces in there, right? He's got some survivability. He's got a 50% battery. He's got some nice stuff in there, but bro's mid. I don't know what you want me to tell you on that one. Like, bro's not super great. And I'm gonna call it like I see it. So, is it worth summoning for? I would say no, but if you like Takeda Shingen over here, then by all means go summon for him. Rider Carmilla, I don't know, man. I feel super like weird about this character because, like, I was coping so hard because like when I was playing in year 1, I was like, dude, we got that one CE that had Summer Camilla on it. I was like, see, I'm telling you guys, when she takes off all the weird freaky stuff, she's actually really hot. I'm trying to tell you, you guys gotta know. And then we finally got Summer Camilla, and everyone was like, oh my goodness, you were right, she's hot. And then we looked at her kit and we're like, okay, she's mid. It's, I mean, I'll still cope on it. I mean, there's good pieces in there, right? Like, we're like stealing NP charge. That's a thing. That's all right, right? You know, it's literally the inverse of the Takeda Shingen thing, where, you know, it's like, well, the character looks really good, and I mean, they're cool. I like them, but I'm definitely coping when I'm using this character. We could just call this one the cope banner, actually. You know what? Even this actually does work as the cope banner, because I do think people really cope really hard on Uchiwa Kamaru. Like, I call her a good low star unit, but there are some people that think this is like the best single target free to play character in the game, and that is some copium, bro. I want what those guys are having. Those guys are coping pretty hard. And then there's Andromeda. I mean, she just came out last year. I think Andromeda still slots in with the moniker of like a really good servant that we don't really have a job for, right? It's like, what does she even do? What is her purpose? What is her job? I mean, she's got some meme stuff in there where it's like, oh, I'm gonna take all the damage this turn. It's like, okay, then what are we doing after that? It's like, okay, I didn't really think we'd get this far. She has the like permanent, what is it, like permanent 10% attack if she gets her guts procced or whatever, but it's like, my brother in Christ, you are not getting that consistently, unless maybe, okay, maybe she's NP1, you have a low invested account, so like you're always getting beat back by the bosses, you're always in there for a long time. Maybe that's what it's for. Maybe, you know what, Brain Blast right now, it's for low end accounts that can't just utterly floob all over the bosses, and so they're like, okay, dude, we're gonna give this to you so you get some extra damage, so you can do as much damage as like an NP2 Andromeda. I don't know. Again, I think she's cute. I just don't know what they put her out for. Like, I don't know what Tucson wants me to do with this character, right? Does he want me to loop with her? Because, like, we got better options. We got better dudes for that. Does he want me to have her be a tank? I don't want to play the game like that. I don't like getting my... I don't like getting destroyed by the enemies just to, like, narrowly win at the very end with, like, 3,000 HP. I don't have the energy to be expelling that much anxiety for this game, man. I don't got the energy for that. So I don't know what they want me to do with this character, right? They're hot, I'll give them that, but like, come on, Tucson, what do you want me to do with this one? So, not as good as like the banner as last week, I would say. Last week, I think we had some absolute banger characters come out, but that's also because those are like the older Rider characters, and they have all been buffed significantly. Like, Ozymandias chucked that guy like 2 really good buffs, and now he's bonkers. Iskandar gave him 1 buff, now he's bonkers. I mean, Drake has always just been like a fairly solid, good all-around option. Reigns is over there, it's just like waiver 2. This one is just like, got nice options. Because like Andromeda, I could see summoning for. Shingen, I wouldn't recommend doing it. Bakan, much as I like them, probably wouldn't recommend it even if I think they're solid. Constantine, I mean, I wouldn't recommend it because you're never gonna use him. You're gonna summon from him, and then he's gonna sit in your Chaldea for like 90% of players. Like Constantine, Taigong, I do think is actually worth pulling for, but it's kind of like an awkward position because he's not limited. So theoretically, you could pull him on any random banner, which always kind of feels bad if you specifically went for them. Nemo, I don't think is really worth going for. I mean, Odysseus, I don't think is worth summoning for. Europa is not worth summoning for. Then Da Vinci Rider is like kind of awkward because, well, she is good enough to summon for, I think. It's just, we have such better options. Like, we have way better Arts AoE options. But let me know in the comment section down below. If you're on the JP side of things, let me know if you're going to be summoning on any one of these banners. And if you're on the global side of things, are any of these guys going to be your Grand Rider targets? I mean, Taigong is like kind of a cool Grand Rider target since you could be Grand Caster or Grand Rider. So it's kind of like lore accurate. I do expect to see some people do that, but aside from that, let me know if you're the Takeda Shingen enjoyer. You're going to be doing the Suzuka Summer Grand Rider grind. I don't know, man. These banners are so awkward this week. I'm just out here waiting for the Assassin banner so I can actually get my grubby little mitts on Kobunski over there, right? And I need to be able to do my premium buster farming with Kukulkan and whatnot. But yeah, with all that being said, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. Like on the video, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace!